Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to start another new chapter, what is known as electromotive force. Actually, we will learn different things from this chapter regarding different types of cells, especially electrochemical cell, or there are different types of electrochemical cells, at least two different types, electrolytic and galvanic. So, what we are going to learn today, what is an electrochemical cell, because the main topic of this chapter is electromotive force, which is directly related with the electrochemical cell. So first of all we will learn about the what is an electrochemical cell, then applications of electrochemical cells. That means why we are going to learn this, what is the importance of learning electrochemical cells. Then we will try to learn how the electrochemical cells, or what are the types. Then what is the galvanic cell? That means first classification of the electrochemical cell is galvanic cell. So today we will be focused on the galvanic cells, and in the next class, or next Wednesday, we will try to learn about the electrolytic cell. So today we will learn about the galvanic cell, and to learn about the galvanic cell we will learn how a voltaic or galvanic cell is created, how we can create it. Then we will learn about the principle of galvanic cell, then galvanic cell diagram, and finally, if we have some time, parts of galvanic cell. So let's start from the beginning. What is an electrochemical cell? All of you are familiar with these types of photos, and you are know these types of devices. These are some devices what can generate some electricity, or it can give some power to work some electronic devices. Not only this type, but sometime you can say, if we consider this is a cell with charging and discharging capacity, so that can cover both electrochemical and electrolytic. But these types of cell just can be only one time used, so you cannot recharge it. So the function of these types of battery or cell, actually this is not a battery. We always call it is a battery, but battery is a combination of cells. So when there are multiple cells, that is known as, or when there are multiple cells connected in different categories, different either series or parallel connection, that is known as battery. But actually in our language or in our tradition, we use this is like a battery, but in scientific way you should always tell this is as cell. And if we connect several cells together, then we will call them at a battery, as a battery. So what is an electrochemical cell? Electrochemical cell is a device what can generate some electricity by the chemical reaction, or some chemical reaction can happen by passing of electricity through it. So I have mentioned two different categories or criteria. When a chemical reaction produces some energy or electricity, that is due to its spontaneous process. A spontaneous process, that means normally we have mentioned in maybe in last class I have mentioned about the reaction or something like this, that or water. I have mentioned that water, if you keep some water in the upper place or in the top, then the water always go down. That is the property that energy will always be. Not in your class, I have taught you in another course, biochemistry. So there I was teaching thermodynamics, so I have mentioned there. So if you put some water, then the water always remain in the lower energy, or anything in the universe tends to stay in the minimum energy state. Therefore not only this battery or whatever, inside the cell, there are some components. We always put some components, some electrode and electrolyte. These two different types of solution and solvent, electrode or solvent or electrode, these types, these are kept inside a cell. So sometimes the reaction can produce electricity, or sometimes the electricity can happen the reaction. That means which one is the spontaneous? If the electricity is passing through the chemicals, then chemicals will be separated, or it will be fragmented, or it will produce some ions. But when some chemical reaction produces some electricity or ion, then we call some electrochemical cell. Now exactly what we are going to learn. An electrochemical cell is a device. I have told in my words. Now you are watching the literature words. An electrochemical cell is a device that can generate electrical energy from the chemical reactions occurring in it, or use the electrical energy supplied to it to facilitate chemical reactions in it. Just I have mentioned, device or electrochemical cell is a device that can generate electricity or electrical energy from chemical reactions, or in another way, some electrical energy can happen some chemical reactions, or can produce some chemical reactions. So that is known as electrochemical cell. So I have given two criteria. So one of them will known as the device are capable of converting chemical energy into electrical energy, or vice versa, is known as galvanic cell. And another one, the device are capable of converting chemical energy into electrical energy, or vice versa. What does it mean? That means if chemical energy produces, or if the reaction produces energy, or electrical energy or electricity produces the reaction, that means the vice versa, just one opposite to other. So here chemical reaction producing electricity, or the electricity producing the chemical reaction or generating the chemical reaction. So very simple example what I have shown here, all of them are examples of electrochemical cells. This can be used to supply 1.5 electron volt, but here are some other cells, they can produce different types of or different amount of voltage. This can give you 9 volt. This is very powerful. So this is 1.5 volt, and some of them are I cannot see, but this one should be 1.5, or this one should be 1.5, but that can be little bit more than this, 4.5 or 5, something like this. Anyway, so that are the examples of electrochemical cells. What are the applications of electrochemical cells? That means why we need to learn about the electrochemical cells. There are huge use or lot of purpose that we can use. So first of all, we are going to learn about electrolytic cells are used in the electro refining. What does it mean? Refining, that means you are familiar with the salt refining. Salt refining, that means if the salt contains some unwanted substances, then we need to refine the salt. That means most of the time salt is extracted from sea. So sea water contains lot of salt and sand or many other things. So you need to refine the salt. So you need to purify. That is the word. What does it mean? The electro refining means that we can refine or purify a metal, mostly non-ferrous metals, that means non-ironous. ferrous, that means I should not use this word, non-ironous, or then the production of high purity lead, zinc, aluminium and copper involves the use of electrolytic cells. So we can use these types of electrolytic cells to get different types of lead, zinc, aluminium and copper metal to purify, highly pure. Sometimes you can get around 99.999% pure, that means very less amount. In last class we have mentioned we can get the germanium 99 point after decimal 49, so that can be, so that types of purity we may need sometime. Then metallic sodium can be extracted from molten sodium chloride by placing it in in an electrolytic cell and passing an electric current through it. Normally the sodium chloride cannot give you sodium, or it is very hard to extract sodium. So if we pass some electricity through making an electrochemical cell and put the sodium chloride or molten sodium chloride, then we can, if we pass electricity, then we can get our sodium and chlorine gas or hydroxide or oxygen gas in the electrodes. So by this way we can extract sodium from sodium chloride. Many commercially important batteries such as lead acid battery are made up of galvanic cells. So different types of cells or different types of batteries, that means combination of cells. So this battery, this should be as a battery because 9 volt, none of the cell can give you 9 volt at a time. So there are several batteries are connected together, so that can give you very high voltage. So 9 volt, so it may have at least 4 dry cells like this, so that can be a 4 or even maybe more, 5 or 6 that can have. So 9 volt approximately, this one give 1.5 volt, but some other electrode or electrode combination that can give little bit higher, 1.8 or maximum 2.1 electron volt like this. So we can have even less, 0.5 or 0.678 like this electron volt from one cell. So we are getting here 9 volt, that means that should be considered as a battery. Okay, putting some unreactive layer over a reactive metal, that is known as electroplating. So sometimes you may have some wristwatch that are looking like golden or different types of color, silver or golden, but actually the wristwatch chain, not for the leather one, just I am considering for the chain. The chain is made up of iron, but pure iron is very reactive, that means it reacts with moisture and water or the oxygen. So if we take the ring, or that means the wristwatch with the wristwatch made of iron ring with no coating or no coating, then the wristwatch will be damaged within very short time. So even that can damage our hand also, so that is very dangerous. So to get some coating over the iron, we put some layer over it, and that can give you different color depending on what types of materials you are putting on the coating. Therefore to give or to prepare or to make some coating of some unreactive materials over a reactive material, we use the electrochemical cells. That means the process is known as electroplating. Fuel cells are an important class of electrochemical cells that serve as a source of clean energy in several remote locations where we do not have electricity. Some villages, even nowadays some of our rural area or some hilly area, we do not have electricity. So some fuel cells can be used there to generate electricity or to produce light or to lighten light or some other purpose. So the fuel cells are very important, and this is one kind of electrochemical cells. Now, what are the types of electrochemical cells? As I have mentioned in the definition, that some of them will produce electricity by chemical reaction and some of them will use electricity for the reaction. So depending on these two categories, we can classify the electrochemical cells in two different types. So one of them galvanic cells and another is electrolytic cells. Galvanic cell, as usually you can remember what I have shown in the dry cell. So galvanic cell, some chemical reaction produces some energy or electricity. So cells capable of generating an electric current from the chemical reactions occurring in them are called galvanic cells. So if you have some chemicals inside a container, and by depending on how fast it can transfer its electron to the electrode or other electrodes or electrolyte, then they can give some electricity or energy. So cells capable of generating an electric current from the chemical reactions occurring in them are called galvanic cells or voltaic cells. Alternatively, if some electricity happens, electricity helps to get the chemical reaction. Naturally, that types of reaction do not happen. So you need to supply some energy from the outside, and we supply the energy from outside as electricity. So if some electricity produces some chemical change, then we can consider that types of cell as electrolytic cells. Okay, so what is galvanic cell? Repeating every time, so I am not going to discuss in detail. Just galvanic cell or voltaic cell is an electrochemical cell that makes use of chemical reactions to generate electrical energy. So chemical reaction produces electrical energy. I am using several terms. Galvanic cell or voltaic cell is an electrochemical cell that makes use of chemical reactions. So the chemical reaction should be spontaneous. Spontaneous, that means if there is several component, sometime you may consider that if you put together some acid and base, then they can react vigorously spontaneously. Just if the acid and base come contact or come together, close together, then they can react to produce salt and water. That is a spontaneous process. But if you want to get oxygen and hydrogen from water, that is not possible. So in that case, you need to perform some electrolytic process. That means you need to pass some electricity through this. So galvanic cell is the process where automatically or spontaneously the reaction is happening and producing some energy. So that is the simple process. Even sometimes you may have during the cooking we use some gas, methane gas. So the reaction between methane and oxygen is spontaneous. So we are getting some energy as a side product of the reaction. We get carbon dioxide and water vapor or moisture, and at the same time we are getting some energy so that we can cook. But some reactions do not happen spontaneously. So if any reaction happens spontaneously, then we can get some energy from them, and that is the process or technique we apply for the galvanic cell. So let's see how a voltaic or galvanic cell is created or generated. So in oxidation reduction reaction, you are familiar with the oxidation reduction reaction. That means if some electron is supplied or if some electron is donated or accepted. Any reaction we can consider like as oxidation reaction, because either it will be reduced or oxidized. That means in there is no reaction where electron is not transferred. So all over the world, any types of reaction we can consider, that is the share is transfer of electrons. So transfer of electrons is can be considered as oxidation and reaction. So if electron is given, then this is one process, and electron is accepted. So wherever electron is given, definitely there should be something who accepts the electron. Therefore all the reactions can be considered as oxidation and reaction. So now in a oxidation reactions, electrons are moved from one species to another species. Energy is released if the reaction occurs spontaneously. Already mentioned that if any reaction happens spontaneously, that means for for reaction with methane gas and oxygen, carbon dioxide and water vapor or moisture is producing at the same time, some energy is given. So that process is known as spontaneous. So there are several other processes which are spontaneous. Therefore the released energy is used to do useful work. So if the reaction is spontaneous, then it will produce some energy. So if you can collect that energy, then you can perform some work out of this energy. To tackle this energy or to handle the energy what we are getting from the spontaneous reaction, it is required to split the reaction into two separate half reactions. So if you put the two different half cells together, and then automatically it will and connect it. So if you put two different half cells in the same container or in different container and connect it, then automatically it will transfer electrons from one electrode to other, and that is the flow of electron, and we will get some energy out of this. So if the reaction giving some spontaneous energy, then to handle the energy it is required to split or to separate the reaction into two separate half reactions, oxidation and reduction. With the help of two different containers and wire, the reaction can put into them to derive the electrons from one end to the other end. So if we have two separate containers with the half reactions, in that case we need to make some extra connections, or if you can put the reaction system half reactions in the same container, then it can supply the ions automatically or spontaneously. But in that case you need to make some fence or partially, that means the reactant or the chemicals do not supply or do not pass, just only the ions can be passed. So semi permeable membrane or sometimes like something like this. So with the help of two different containers and wire, if we put the reaction half reactions in two different containers, then we need to put some extra connections, that is known as salt bridge. Salt bridge, what is salt bridge? Maybe in next class I will discuss in detail. So with the help of two different containers and wire, the reactions are put into them to derive the electrons from one end to the other end. So what is the principle of voltaic cell? That means how the voltaic cell is worked or how the galvanic cell works. Electric work done by a galvanic cell is mainly due to the energy of a spontaneous redox reaction in the voltaic cell. So if there is any reaction what happens spontaneously, then we can get some energy out of this. So it generally consists of two half cells and a salt bridge. So previous slide I have mentioned about the two half cells. So for any reaction if you put the two half cells together, in that case the reaction or the ions can flow or the electrons can flow easily. So in that case we need to make some barrier so that the ions cannot move easily. You need to if you need to get the electrons out of the cell, then you need to make some barrier so that the electrons or ions cannot pass easily. So each half cell further consists of metallic electrode dipped into an electrolyte. So what the half cell consists of? One half cell should have an electrode and another electrolyte. Electrolyte, that means it can be a solution or sometimes it can be a paste. Most of the time for heavy batteries we use liquid or solution, and some dry cells we use some paste. So we need to have an electrode and an electrolyte. So there are two different components of a half cell. Must have a electrolyte and another one should be electrolyte solution or the electrolyte paste and the electrode. These two half cells are connected to a voltmeter and a switch externally. That means the voltmeter is just to check if the electricity is generating. So if you can put some electronic devices, that means some light or bulb, that you can confirm the presence of, and also you need to make some switch, so that if you do not make some switch, then when you need the electricity, just we can control the reaction by pressing the switch, so that though not always the reaction is happening. So when we want or when we need some electricity, just we can control the switch, so we can get the electricity out of the reaction. So these two half cells are connected to a voltmeter and the switch externally. So you can connect a voltmeter or some other devices, that is okay, and you must need to put some switch. In some cases when both the electrodes are dipped in the same electrolyte, sometime you can have. So in some cases when both electrodes are dipped in the same electrolyte, a salt bridge is not required. So if you dip both the electrodes in the same electrolyte or electrolyte solution, in that case there is no need to have the salt bridge or external connection, because if you put both the electrodes in the same solution, so automatically they can transfer electrons from one electrode to another. So there is no need to have some extra connection or salt bridge. So this is the diagram of a galvanic cell or voltaic cell. So here you can see I have shown you two different types. Here just porous disc. This is an electrolyte, this is an electrode, this is another electrolyte, and this is another electrode. They are connected by some external connection which can be considered as salt bridge or not. But if this is a porous disc, this is porous disc, so you don't need to put the external connection. But if you have consider like this one, this is a separate cell. This is zinc sulfate is the electrolyte and this is our electrode. So here is another electrode and this is another electrolyte. So if you have these types of cell, that means two electrodes are dipped into two different electrolytes in two different containers. In that case you need to have an extra connection that should be known as salt bridge. The salt bridge can be made of different types of ions. So here potassium chloride. So different types of ions soaked with some paper or some other types of materials, or sometimes we can use cotton. So that can be used as the salt bridge. So we can have direct connection or indirect connection. So mainly what we have, two different electrolytes and two different electrodes that may be connected directly with the porous disc. That means it has some hole, very small hole, so the ion can flow, and the solvent or the electrolyte, they do not flow. So just porous disc, and we can have direct connection or indirect connection. So these are the diagram of voltaic cell. And what we call which electrode, this is one electrode, this is another electrode. So we have two different types of electrode, one is known as anode and another is known as cathode. So how we can define anode and cathode? Anyone has the idea how we can define the anode and cathode? I have mentioned that this one is anode and this one is cathode. This is anode, this is cathode. Then how you can define which one should be anode and why this one is called anode, cathode? Anyone?
Anode is connected with negative charge of the.
Yes, that means where the oxidation takes place. We have been talking about the cathode and anode, which one should be anode and which one should be cathode. So to mention the anode, I have mentioned that where the oxidation takes place. That means oxidation takes place, how it can happen? So there are some electrolyte inside here. So the zinc has the tendency to donate some electron to produce some zinc 2 plus ion. So the electrons reside here in the electrode, and the ion go inside the solution or electrolyte. So this zinc or this electrode can be considered as anode because the oxidation takes place here, and here opposite reaction, that means reduction takes place. How? The copper ion takes some electron from the electrode, that means the electron passing through this, these electrons come here, and the ion here, this ion copper 2 plus ion takes that 2 electrons to form a copper metal or copper ion, copper molecule. So this copper connect to this, therefore, or it makes the size of this electrode bigger. So by destroying the zinc electrode, that means by destroying the anode, we are increasing the size of the cathode. So here the oxidation takes place and here the reduction takes place. So that is the simplest way that we can discuss about the anode and cathode, where the oxidation takes place and where the reduction takes place. Parts of the galvanic cell, already we have discussed what are the parts of the galvanic cell. So this is an electrolyte, this is another electrolyte, electrode and another electrode, two different electrodes that can be connected directly or that can be connected indirectly, or it can be put into two different or two separate cells. So the direct connection, this is the direct connection and this is indirect connection. So sometimes you may have the salt bridge or sometimes you may have porous disc. So that are the components of a galvanic cell. So let's see anode oxidation, that means where the two different electrodes we have mentioned. So one is anode, another is cathode. So where the oxidation occurs, this is known as anode. The cathode, the reduction occurs at this electrode. Salt bridge to give the connection externally. If two electrolytes and electrodes are dipped into two different or kept into two different cells, then you can have the external connection, that is known as salt bridge. Half cells, that means one electrode and electrolyte. What the reactions? So just one electrode dipped into a electrolyte can be considered as half cell. Another electrode dipped into electrolyte, that can be considered as another half cells. external circuit, that means external circuit, what are the flow of electron, how the electrons are flow. So you need to have some connections that can be made of different wires, or you can put some voltmeter or some electronic devices at the connection inside the circuit. And load, a part of the circuit utilizes the electron to flow to perform its function. So load, a part of the circuit, utilizes the electron to flow to perform its function. So that can be considered as load. Working of a galvanic cell, how galvanic cell works. So already I have discussed from here. So if you put two different, but one thing you need to remember, later I will show you the reactivity series, or that reactivity series, or another term, electropositive. Anyway, later if I can remember, then I will mention you that there are some series of metals that if we make two different connections, or if we can make a cell out of that metals, then some of the metal can donate electron very fast and some of them cannot. So depending on the tendency of the donating electron, we have organized all the metals or most of the metals in a series. So that series is known as reactivity series. So if some metal in the top of the reactivity series, then it can donate electron very fast. So another one, if we have two different metals in a cell, and if we use two different electrodes, then if we connect by a wire, so one metal can donate electron very fast. So there is a comparatively. So if you have same electrode, then there is no possibility that electron can be transferred. So if you use two different electrodes, then the ability or donating capacity is different. Therefore they can have, if you connect with a wire, then there is a possibility that electron can be transferred. So in a galvanic cell, when an electrode is exposed to the electrolyte, that means electrode is dipped into electrolyte, that means it come into contact with the electrolyte. So exposed to the electrolyte at the electrolyte interface, the atoms of the metal electrode have a tendency to generate ions in the electrolyte solution, leaving behind the electrons at the electrode. So what happens when the electrode come into contact with the electrolyte? So here, when the electrode come into contact with the electrolyte, the metal donates some electron and it go into the solution as a ion. So the electron reside here, and the electron can pass through the wire to the other electrode. So after getting the electron, the ion here, the ion at the electrolyte, so that ion will take the electrons and they will form into atom or molecule, and they combine into the electrode. That is the simple function how the galvanic cell. So depending on the position of the metals or electrodes in the reactivity series, you will get the how much electrode, how much electron it can flow, or what would be the potential difference between the electrodes. So just you need to remember how much electron you need or what the potential difference you need. Depending on that, you have to choose the electrodes and electrolytes. Okay, so working of galvanic cell, that is, while at the same time metal ions and the electrolyte solution are to have a tendency to deposit on the metal electrode. There, I'm not going to discuss you because already I have discussed all of them. So the potential difference is known as electrode potential. That means the potential difference between the two electrodes. So if you consider two different electrodes in the reactivity series, they have the tendency to donate electron different. So the difference between the potential difference of two different electrodes are known as potential difference or electrode potential. Out of the two electrodes, the electrode at which oxidation takes place is called anode, and while the electrode at which reduction takes place is called cathode. There is nothing to tell more. So just example of a galvanic cell, and that is the end of today's lecture will be. So example of a galvanic cell, we have seen several examples already. Dry cells. So electrochemical or galvanic cells were introduced as a tool for studying the thermodynamic properties of fused salts more than a century ago. That means this is 2021. More than a century ago, Daniell cell is an example of a galvanic cell that converts chemical energy into electrical energy. So what is the Daniell cell? Just the example or the diagram I have shown you in the previous slide, that is the Daniell cell. So what the reactions happen? So Daniell cell, copper ions are reduced at the cathode while zinc is oxidized at the anode. So the reactions at the Daniell cell at cathode and anode are: at cathode, copper 2 plus 2 electrons. That means first we should write down this one first, because zinc is giving 2 electrons to produce zinc 2 plus ion, and then 2 electron is released, and these 2 electrons are accepted by copper 2 plus ion in the cathode. So the copper 2 plus is taking 2 electrons to form copper metal, and this copper metal is deposited in the electrode. So the size of the electrode at the cathode increases and the size of the anode decreases. And this is the example, and we have several examples, and nowadays we have many different types of cells. Even we use the mobile phone, and regularly you need to charge the phone. What happens in the phone? Sorry, in the phone you do some charging. During that time the galvanic cell, electrolytic cell, during that process, when do you charge? That process is known as electrolytic cell. That means we are giving some electricity, some reaction is happening. Then when the charging is over, when we use the phone, that time the reaction produces energy so that we can use the phone. So in the mobile phone, that means the cell where at the same time charging and discharging can happen, these types of cell are known as electrolytic cell, which can work as galvanic cell and electrolytic cell. So this is the end of today's class. If you have any question or comment regarding this, then you are welcome to ask.